First of all, thank you all for the advice you've given me. I didn't have the time to reply to anyone since the last 24 hours have been crazy, but I kept checking the post religiously in order to get some ideas. I've been contemplating involving the police, but right now I don't have any strong evidence that she did anything wrong. For all I know, she could indeed, like some of you said, be running from a psychopathic ex or abusive father. Come to think of it, she never did introduce me to her father in these 6 months, but I accounted it to her having a bad relationship with him, due to her parents being divorced and him being a heavy drinker. Still though, she never mentioned or even hinted any abuse. At any rate, while I was still at the cafe, I decided that the best course of action would be Googling Jennifer's name to find more info and ultimately confronting my girlfriend about the whole thing, if worse comes to worst. While Googling her name, I was met with some Instagram and Facebook profiles of people with the same name. However, I still opened the links to see if it was the woman from the picture. It wasn't. I thought the search would take hours and that my girlfriend would start calling or texting, but I didn't need to scroll long. A few search results below, I was met with a news article from last year. It was about a Jennifer who had been convicted several times for assault, drug abuse, theft, and ultimately murder attempt. Apparently, Jennifer's ex-husband had enraged her when he refused to give her drug money, so she attacked him with an axe. Luckily, she was apprehended by the police and sentenced to 6 years in prison. Now, this is where things get even crazier. Apparently, Jennifer managed to escape prison in September 2017 and has since been at large. The details of her prison break are vague, but the police suspect she fled the country. At the bottom of the article were Jennifer's mugshots. My heart skipped a beat. The red hair, the expressionless face, it was definitely the same person from the ID card. What did all of this mean? I asked myself 1,000 times over and over, trying to connect the dots. I looked at the date of Jennifer's prison break again, June 3rd, 2017. I then went back to Google and searched my girlfriend's name. Again, the first things I saw were websites for Instagram, Facebook, some cooking sites, etc. But below all that was a meager news article. It simply read, "Woman disappears for 2 days, comes back saying she needed some alone time." It was a very short article, and it simply told of a woman with the exact name like my girlfriend's, who disappeared while jogging in the early morning. Apparently, after disappearing, her family and friends could not get in contact with her for more than 24 hours, so they decided to call the police. When she returned unscathed, she simply remarked that she wanted some time to herself, away from technology and people. There were no pictures, but the woman's age at the time of her disappearance was 26. Just like Ariana. I looked at the date of the event, October 28th. My heart began racing again as I logged into Facebook with trembling hands. Ariana and I met through some mutual friends during August last year. But when did we start falling in love? According to Messenger, thanks Mark, we started chatting almost immediately after the meetup, and were getting more romantic and salacious by late September. We didn't meet until next year, but we chatted every day for hours. I couldn't wrap my head around this at all. What was she hiding from me? Maybe she was just embarrassed over the police being involved for her alleged disappearance and never told me because of that. And it seemed a little far-fetched, but maybe that box of Jennifer's documents was there because she found the coincidence funny? Or maybe it was her sister? A million possibilities raced through my head, but I knew I was getting nowhere like this. Plus, it was getting late, and my girlfriend would start getting worried soon. I scrolled through some of Ariana's photo albums on Facebook, clicking frenetically before deciding it was time to go home. What was the worst thing that could happen? Would she kill me? No, I know her and she could never do such a thing, even if she was Jennifer. When I arrived home, I carefully opened the door, holding my breath and preparing myself for an imminent attack. "Hi, honey," Ariana's voice came from the living room. "Hi, dear." I tried to sound as calm as possible. "How was your workout?" "Oh, somewhat good." "Are you ever going to have a great workout?" Based on her casual way of speaking, I thought she hadn't suspected anything yet, but it was also possible she was giving me a false sense of security. "Probably not," I replied lazily and went into the living room, where she was watching a show on her laptop. She paused her show as I kissed her and sat on the opposite side of the couch. This is usually where I would sit. So, how was your day? I pretended to look at the phone while carefully monitoring her with my peripheral vision. Good. I managed to burn 400 calories on my cardio. Nice. Hey, listen. I need to talk to you about something. Here it comes, I thought. I lowered my phone and tried to put on my most "where is this coming from" face expression, bracing myself for her confession. Considering the fact that I had prepared coming home to face her with what I learned today, her confession shouldn't have come as a surprise. But that didn't stop my adrenaline from pumping, like I just ran a marathon as I awaited her response. What is it? I could hear my own voice trembling as I spoke those words. I went to the doctor's office today, and, I'm pregnant. Her response hit me like a ton of bricks. I felt something rise at the pit of my stomach as I stared in bewilderment, not fully comprehending what I was hearing. Honey, did you hear me? She touched my hand, with sympathy in her eyes. I tried deciphering if there were any lies in her words. Her look seemed sincere. Yeah, I heard you, I said. Listen, I know this is a lot to take in. I want us to make this decision together. I know you don't like children, but please think about it thoroughly before making a final decision. Whatever you decide, I won't force you otherwise. I still didn't say anything. Whatever words were on my mind before coming home have dispersed now. I have a lesson in a few minutes, she continued. Let's talk after I'm done, yeah? She took my face into her hands and kissed me, whispering, I love you, before picking up her phone and leaving the room. I stayed in the same position for what seemed like hours, even though it couldn't have been more than a few minutes. A million thoughts raced through my head, but in the end, I came to only one conclusion. I couldn't kill that child. As far as I'm concerned, my girlfriend's name is Ariana and has always been, and I never found that box or Googled Jennifer's name, or found the article of my girlfriend disappearing for a day. And most of all, I never looked at her old photos on Facebook and wondered why her eyes were green, but then suddenly around October changed to dark brown.